Hello, everyone. Welcome to Powell Sports Media. I'm your host, David Powell, and this is my small sports show where I recap and talk about some of the sports that are happening right now and some of my favorite takes about what's going on in the different leagues and the different sports that I like to watch. Let's get into it. Yeah. For my inaugural episode, we will be discussing Formula One. Formula One is one of my favorite sports, and they just got back from their summer break this weekend. The paddock headed out to the Dutch Grand Prix in the Netherlands. This race, like I said, was the first one back from the summer break. So it was the first time they've raced in a couple of weeks. I really liked having it back. I miss F1 when it's not on. So I'm glad that they raced this weekend. The kind of a recap of what happened throughout the weekend. Lots of crazy stuff happened. The practices, the McLarens coming into the weekend looked really good. They were fastest. They had the top two spots, the fastest two spots in all three of the practices. Lando Norris was the fastest in all three practice sessions. Oscar Piastri, his teammate, he followed him up in all three of those sessions. The McLarens looked really good coming into the season or coming into the race. Qualifying, Piastri actually took pole position. Narrowly, it was only 12 thousandths of a second that he had on his teammate Lando Norris. But the McLarens, a 1-2 starting in the race. Couple of the guys behind him, Max Verstappen, he qualified third place, so he followed the McLarens up. And then a surprise, Isaac Hadjar, he races for Racing Bulls. It's not a team that's usually at the front, but he qualified an impressive fourth place on Saturday. So he got to start the race from fourth. Kind of an interesting thing leading into the race. It's something that I definitely wanted to keep my eye on. During the race, there was definitely some action, but not really up front. Oscar Piastri definitely, he had an impressive performance. He stayed in front for all 72 laps, so there wasn't a lot of racing done up at the front. Behind him, however, it was kind of a crazy race. Kind of notably, and much to my disappointment, Lewis Hamilton crashed out of this race. I am a Lewis Hamilton fan. I followed him for a couple years now. So it was sad for me to see him crash out of the race. And definitely a bummer for him and Ferrari as he tries to make it work for his new team. It's the first season he's been on the team. Things got even worse for the Ferrari team as Charles Leclerc, Hamilton's teammate, he crashed out a little bit later. He and Mercedes driver Kimi Antonelli, they had a little scrap on turn 3 of the racetrack. Antonelli was able to continue, but Charles Leclerc crashed out. So that was the end of his race. It was towards the end of the race. But a double did not finish for the Ferraris. It was not a good weekend for the team in red. It'll be interesting to see if they can bounce back in the next race. I'll talk about the next race in a second. One more notable thing that kind of happened this weekend that's actually going to shake up some of the drivers' standings. Lando Norris, so Piastri's teammate, he actually didn't finish the race. He retired. Only 7 laps left in the race. He had some sort of car problems. There was smoke, so he had to stop his race car, and they had to move it off the track. Why that's notable, coming into the race, Lando Norris was only 9 points back from his teammate Oscar Piastri in the Drivers' Championship standings. So it's been a close battle kind of all season. The two McLarens have run away with it, but they at least had stayed close to each other up till now. With the win and Lando Norris's retirement, Oscar Piastri is now 34 points ahead of his teammate. So it's going to be interesting to see, will Piastri just run away with it after this? Is he basically going to run away with the championship, or can Lando kind of make it a fight with just there's about 9 races left in the season? So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that DNF from Lando Norris. One other highlight of the weekend was Isaac Hadjar. Like I said, he qualified an impressive 4th place on Saturday. And he followed up his performance on Saturday with an awesome performance on Sunday. He actually finished the race in 3rd place, largely due to Lando Norris's retirement. But still, he did what he had to do to get 3rd place. It's actually his first podium in F1. He is a rookie, like I said earlier. So it's just really cool to see some of the new guys really starting to impact the sport. Hopefully, Isaac Hadjar and Racing Bulls can carry their success into the coming race, and it'll be interesting to see how they do. Yeah, just a really cool point heading into next weekend is Isaac Hadjar. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Moving forward, the paddock is heading down to Italy for their second race in the country. This time it's at the Monza racetrack. It's going to be interesting on several different points. First off, it's another home race for Ferrari. So it'll be interesting, can they bounce back from kind of the abysmal weekend they had in the Netherlands? It's also going to be interesting for a couple other reasons. One, Monza's a fast track. It's kind of one that's known, I believe it's even called the Temple of Speed by some of the drivers. So it's a fast track, usually gives us some action from the audience standpoint. The second reason it might be interesting is teams usually replace their power units, which those kind of the parts of the engine. Usually they replace those at Monza. And when you replace those power units, you usually incur a penalty. Like a grid place penalty. Kind of too complicated to discuss on just a short talk like this. But it'll probably shake up the starting grid and where the cars start on Sunday. So that's going to add some interest as we move on to the weekend. So yeah, Friday they'll be starting down in Monza. So it'll be interesting. That's kind of all I've got for this first episode. It'll be interesting to see how this show kind of evolves as I not only learn how to do this stuff a little bit better, but get more confident with my my video taking skills. So I appreciate the views, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Yeah.